I'm just saying.
Well, when have I ever gave you bad advice? That's real quick. When have I ever told you something and you didn't listen and went belly up?
I'm not doing that. We know that. You
All
don't
right,
have
then.
to stroke your ego right now.
I'm not stroking my ego. I am referencing everything I say.
I got you. We can big you up all day. That's fine. I'm telling you something. So
I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, so what I'm saying is,
what is it?
I understand the frustration of women because what they're saying is there's not a big pool of good men.
Oh, fiction can be fun.
That's a lie.
100% lie.
That's not a lie.
That is a lie.
That's not a lie.
There's not a pool. There's not a. Listen.
Can I finish the story?
Listen.
You sat on the phone with me and said, how many good men are there in this world?
I wish you weren't a liar.
I said
there's not a lot of them. So please don't play with me because I remember everything you tell me.
Listen.
What?
Listen, shut up for a second.
There's not a lot of good men who want y'all. I'm clapping for myself. There's a lot of good men out there where the good man at? Like they hiding under a rocker in a cave. They everywhere. They at the gas station. They at Costco. They at Equinox. They at the bank. They walking right past you and you don't show up on their radar because of the way you are.
Boom.
They're going to walk right by you. Okay. And you in LA. If you in LA or anywhere LA adjacent, your pretty face ain't going to go too far because everybody's pretty. Matter of fact, you ain't even got to be born pretty or wake up pretty. But when you leave your house, you're going to be pretty. So everybody's pretty. That's a prerequisite. So if that's all you got to offer, we're not looking at you. So there is plenty of good men. I am not rare in that way. I am rare in the way that I'm probably one of the only few good men that you have a close relationship to. But there's plenty good men. There's plenty good men. They just don't want your
A lot of them falsely assume men are only paying attention to their looks and ignoring their attitudes and bad behaviors. If you notice, all of the women who complain about a lack of good men all have very bad attitudes that no man with self-respect would be willing to tolerate. But the women with good attitudes and behaviors have no problem finding good men.
If you are broke, you should not be dating.
Okay, I wonder if that applies to women as well as men.
I'm not saying if you're broke, you're not worthy of love and happiness.
Well, that's good, because that would be a very classist mentality.
You're just not worthy of me.
No, so this is a pay-to-play kind of thing, is it?
Just kidding. You need to focus on yourself. Broke guys are usually the most insecure guys on the planet. I swear to God.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure they're very happy and secure in the fact that they don't have to worry about dating someone who's only after their money.
It's not necessarily their fault.
Oh?
Because as a society, we have prided men and we have made their self-worth contingent on how much money they make or their profession.
As a society, is it? Well then, it seems like some women are doing a great job of perpetuating that.
The broke men, they walk around with a chip on their shoulder.
Is anyone else wondering what they actually consider to be broke?
If you don't like your circumstances, try to do something about it. Don't be mad at everyone else. Especially not me. What did I do?
Well, one is perpetuating the idea that men aren't worth dating unless they make a certain amount of money every year, which is really no different than men saying that they won't date a woman unless she looks a certain way. But yet, lots of women find reasons to get mad at that.
Would it surprise you to find out that the girl in that video isn't married? I doubt it would, because like the last lady, no man with self-respect would be willing to tolerate that attitude and mindset, regardless of how much money they make. Also keep in mind that the women obsessed with how much money you make are the ones who also refuse to go 50-50 until it's time for divorce.
How tall are you?
How much do you weigh?
How much money you got?
How many bodies do you got?
What's your credit score?
Do you have any student loan debt?
Do you pay all the bills?
Do you cook and clean?
How big is it?
How wide is it?
Check.
At least get a little bit of butter. Can you melt some butter for me?
No.
Maybe some salt and pepper?
No.
That salt and pepper wasn't all that good. What about some scissors? Scissors, I could cut it open easier.
You too annoyed. Can you shut up?
Ê, cái sợ ăn đi tốt. Con gái con đứa
Rồi nhận nhịn chút đi.
Like that?
We did the video, Mom. Cancel thoát.
I don't think you realize how much work I put in to do that.
To cuddle?
No, for your family. I woke up at 8 in the morning and went to the grocery store and had to hunt down a bunch of stuff, figure out the grill, do all that was work. And after that, I came back and did the dishes. If you sat here and grilled a whole meal for my whole family and I come back to dishes in the sink, I'm not gonna ask you to do the dishes. I'm probably just gonna do them. Maybe I didn't communicate that, sure. However, if I have to communicate that, I am not the one for you.
Do not try to make it seem like I'm not here doing my part at all. We're not going to spin it like that. I've been given such a negative response, a temper tantrum sometimes, like an attitude. I just don't understand it. If it's about the dishes, me going to sleep, a text, all of that, it's the slap in the face.
I'm glad you feel that way. There's a lot I could respond to, but there is no scenario that I see myself standing there and saying yes to making you my wife forever. And with that in mind, I'm glad we can at least agree that I don't ever want to see you again.
That's a perfect example of what I said earlier. No man with self-respect is going to tolerate a bad attitude and bad behavior. They know it will only lead to a bad outcome, so it's in their best interest to avoid it altogether.
I'm curious, is dating a woman with kids like a red flag?
Yes. Yes, it is. And it's not just one red flag. It's many. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying to men that you shouldn't date single mothers or perhaps get into relationships with them, but men need to be aware of those red flags and decide if it's worth the risk before they make that decision to date or get into a relationship with a single mother. Men need to understand that most of the time, she's not looking for a partner or love. She's looking for a replacement daddy, someone to replace the actual father of her children who she tossed aside because, well, he didn't do enough or she thought she could do better. It might be because she's been divorced or separated for a while and has now decided she needs a father figure in her children's lives. Or it might be for financial reasons, because if she signed you up, not only does she get the child support from the actual father, she gets you to support her children and her as well. Something that men need to understand and know, because over 70% of second marriages to single mothers end up in divorce. Why? Primarily because the replacement daddy didn't quite live up to her expectations, or he didn't parent her children the way she decided he should parent them. Which leads to the third red flag men need to be aware of, which is that you will never, and I do mean never, be a priority to her. Her kids will always come first. Your wants, your needs, your desires won't matter in the least, especially if they conflict in any way with what her kids want or need or what she thinks they deserve. You will always be an afterthought, someone who will only get the scraps of her love, affection, and attention. Oh, the single mothers will never admit that's the case, and they'll go out of their way to make it seem otherwise, at least at first. But in the long run, it's almost a guarantee you'll be far down her list of priorities, if you're even on the list at all. And oh, by the way, that'll still apply even after the kids are grown and long gone from the house. And speaking of the kids, remember this: no matter how much time, attention, caring, and love you give to those children, if she decides to get rid of you, you're SOL. You'll likely never see or hear from those kids again. Men need to fully understand they have absolutely no rights as a step-parent. And that applies no matter how involved they were. Most likely in the end, you'll be nothing more than a fading memory. And nothing you ever did will be appreciated. Not by her, and often the children. Those are the realities and red flags that men need to know about. Again, I'm not saying men shouldn't date single mothers, but they should only do so with their eyes wide open. They need to fully realize those red flags exist and apply to every situation, and stop making excuses that she won't be like that. Because as I said, more than 2/3 of the time, she will be. Men need to understand that and assess the risk before they decide to date or get into a relationship with any single mother.